Most bitter irony in American gun rights just unfolded in May 2026. While federal courts strike down assault weapon bans, concealed carry restrictions fall nationwide, and Trump administration rolls back ATF regulations, American civilian ammunition market caught in multidimensional supply crisis where geopolitical conflicts, trade policies, manufacturing constraints, and mass consumer psychology create what economists call perfect storm. By the end of this video, you will know all the implications, so let's get into it. You have right to bear arms affirmed by Supreme Court, right to carry in all 50 states, right to own AR-15s, but you cannot buy ammunition because shelves empty, manufacturers suspended civilian production, importers face tariff barriers, and remaining inventory disappearing within hours due to panic buying. Subscribe because understanding how war in Middle East, Trump trade policies, supply chain crisis, and consumer panic are simultaneously strangling ammunition. Supply explains why expanded gun rights mean nothing without bullets, and knowing which factors you can control determines whether you can still exercise Second Amendment. May 2026 situation. Supreme Court expanded gun rights significantly through Bruin historical tradition test, assault weapon bans falling, concealed carry reciprocity nationwide, NFA regulations challenged. Legally, gun rights strongest in decades, but ammunition to exercise those rights scarcer than World War II rationing. 4 simultaneous crises creating perfect storm. First, Iran war consumed over 50% of munitions stockpiles, forcing manufacturers to prioritize Pentagon contracts under Defense Production Act. Second, Trump tariffs on imported ammunition from China, Eastern Europe, South Korea eliminated 30 to 40% of civilian supply. Third, manufacturing at maximum capacity cannot increase output due to component shortages, equipment limitations, labor constraints. Fourth, consumer panic buying triggered by media coverage creating self-fulfilling prophecy where inventory disappears immediately. Let me break down each factor in perfect storm, how these crises compound each other, why this creates unprecedented situation for gun owners, and what you can do when rights expand but resources disappear. Number 1. Geopolitical factor. War-consuming munitions. Iran campaign consumption. 5-week bombing campaign consumed. Over 800 Tomahawk missiles. Over 200 SM-6 interceptors. 400 JASSMER missiles. Thousands of JDAMs. Total value $8 to $12 billion. CSIS shows consumption exceeded 50% of pre-war stockpiles. Production deficit. Tomahawk production 100 to 150 per year peacetime. Campaign consumed 800 plus in 5 weeks. Replenishing requires 5 to 8 years at current rates. Pentagon invoking Defense Production Act priority orders. Civilian production suspended. Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics operate federal, Remington, Winchester, CCI subsidiaries. Military production at maximum, Pentagon contracts taking legal priority under DPAS. Civilian manufacturing suspended starting May 2026. Affected 5.56/.223, 7.62/.308, 9 mm, .50 BMG, primers, powder. Allied munitions transfers. May 2nd warnings to UK, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Ukraine about NASAMS and HIMARS delays. European NATO allies requesting U.S. munitions for Ukraine's support and stockpile replenishment. Increases demand on strained production. Number 2. Economic policy factor. Tariffs eliminating imports. Trump tariff policy, March 2026. Across-the-board tariffs targeting Chinese manufacturing, Eastern European exports, South Korean products, ammunition and components included. Steel tariffs affect brass, chemical tariffs affect primers. Finished ammunition facing 25 to 45% tariff rates. Import supply eliminated. Before tariffs, imports represented 30 to 40% of U.S. civilian market from Czech Republic, Parvi Partisan, Cellier and Bellet, Serbia, South Korea, PMC, Turkey. Tariffs making imports 25 to 45% more expensive, pricing them out of market. Component restrictions. Domestic manufacturers rely on imported brass from China/India, primers from Mexico/Canada, bullets from international suppliers. tariffs on components increasing domestic production costs 15 to 30%, forcing manufacturers to reduce civilian output rather than accept margin compression. Retaliatory measures. Countries implementing retaliatory export restrictions. European Union considering export licenses for ammunition to U.S. civilians. South Korea prioritizing military customers. This further restricts import channels. Economic nationalism versus reality. Trump justifies tariffs as protecting American manufacturing. Reality. Domestic already at maximum capacity cannot absorb demand from eliminating imports. Net effect reduces total supply rather than shifting production. Gun owners paying price for trade war. Number 3. Supply chain factor. Manufacturing cannot expand. Production capacity ceiling. Ammunition manufacturing requires specialized equipment running 24/7 under peacetime. Case forming, primer insertion, powder charging, bullet seating, quality control, all at maximum utilization, cannot add shifts when already continuous. Building new lines requires 12 to 24 months plus hundreds of millions capital. No manufacturer willing to invest when crisis may be temporary. Component bottlenecks, brass, copper/zinc, from mills at capacity. Lead for bullets from mining at capacity. Copper jacketing from global supply. Specialized primers, lead styphnate, barium nitrate from limited manufacturers, nitrocellulose powder from chemical plants at maximum. Each component represents choke point cascading through production chain. Labor and equipment constraints. Skilled workers shortage due to retirement and difficult recruitment. Training takes months to years. Equipment running 24/7 experiencing accelerated wear requiring maintenance downtime. Breakdown frequency increases. Replacement parts for specialized equipment have long lead times. Quality control cannot be sacrificed, preventing production increases beyond safe operational limits. Number 4. Consumer psychology factor. Panic buying, creating scarcity. Media, triggering panic. News about Iran war. Ammunition shortages. Manufacturer suspensions, triggering immediate consumer response. Gun owners seeing headlines rush to retailers. Behavior concentrating demand into compressed time frame, overwhelming supply. Hoarding patterns. Scarcity psychology shows people purchase more than needed. Gun owners normally buying 100 rounds per month, purchasing 1,000 plus when available. 10 times demand multiplier accelerating depletion. Retailers report customers buying maximum allowed daily, storing cases, preparing for extended unavailability. Social media amplification, gun forums, Facebook, Reddit sharing real-time availability reports, posts showing empty shelves, prices, manufacturer statements spreading rapidly, information cascade where each person's panic validates next person's decision, creating self-reinforcing cycle. Resale market exploitation, secondary market on arms list, gun broker, classifieds reselling ammunition for 200 to 500% markup, speculative hoarding removing ammunition from market for profit, restricting supply for actual shooters, community norms breaking down, stores implementing rationing but customers circumventing by visiting multiple stores, bringing family members, camping overnight before deliveries. Number 5. Perfect storm compounds, rights without resources, multiple crises multiplying. Each factor alone creates significant shortage. Combined, they create catastrophic breakdown. War removes 50% for military. Tariffs eliminate 30 to 40% of imports. Manufacturing cannot expand. Panic buying multiplies demand 10 times. Result, 20 to 30% normal supply facing 300 to 500% normal demand. Math shows shelves empty. Legal rights becoming meaningless. Supreme Court says carry concealed in all states. But what good is right when you cannot purchase 9mm to load handgun? Federal courts strike assault weapon bans. But what good is right to own AR-15 when you cannot purchase 5.56 to shoot it? Cruel irony. Gun rights expanding legally at exact moment market makes exercising impossible. Class warfare dimensions. Wealthy gun owners who stockpiled before crisis or can afford 300 to 500% markups still able to shoot. Working-class gun owners who cannot afford storing thousands of rounds or extreme prices effectively priced out of Second Amendment. Constitutional right becoming privilege of wealth contradicts fundamental American principle that rights belong to all, regardless of economic status. Government-created crisis. Federal government expanding rights through courts while strangling supply through policies. Pentagon invoking DPAS prioritizing military. Trump imposing tariffs eliminating imports. Government giving rights with one hand, taking resources with other. Gun owners caught in middle. What gun owners can do: purchase critical defensive ammunition immediately, 500 rounds minimum, before inventory disappears. Diversify to non-military calibers less affected. .45 ACP, .40 S&W, 10 mm, .357 Magnum, .44 Magnum shotgun shells. Don't panic buy excessively, but ensure adequate defensive supply. Consider reloading equipment and components, brass, bullets, while available. Monitor stores and online retailers daily. Avoid price gouging over 50% markup. Join local shooting clubs for group purchasing. Pressure elected representatives to address DPAS, civilian impact, and tariff policies. Recognize this is a political problem requiring political solutions. Market alone cannot fix government-created crisis. Bottom line. May 2026, perfect storm makes gun rights meaningless without ammunition. Legal landscape. Supreme Court expanding Second Amendment through Bruin historical tradition test. Assault weapon bans falling. Concealed carry, reciprocity expanding. NFA, regulations challenged. Strongest gun rights in decades legally. Geopolitical factor. Iran war consumed over 50% of key munitions stockpiles. 800 plus Tomahawks, 200 plus SM-6, 400 plus JASSMERs, thousands of JDAMs. Production deficit requires 5 to 8 years to replenish. Pentagon invoking Defense Production Act, suspending civilian ammunition manufacturing. Affected calibers: 5.56/.223, 7.62/.308, 9 mm, .5 OBMG, primers, powder. Economic policy factor: Trump tariffs on imported ammunition and components. 25 to 45% tariff rates, eliminating 30 to 40% of civilian supply from Czech, Serbia, South Korea, Turkey. Component import restrictions increasing domestic production costs 15 to 30%. Retaliatory trade restrictions from affected countries. Economic nationalism reducing total supply rather than shifting production. Supply chain factor. Manufacturing at maximum capacity cannot expand. Production lines running 24/7. New facilities require 12 to 24 months. Component bottlenecks in brass, lead, copper, primers, powder. Labor shortage limiting workforce expansion. Equipment maintenance reducing uptime. Quality control preventing unsafe production rate increases. Consumer psychology factor. Media coverage triggering panic buying. Hoarding behavior 10 times normal demand. Social media amplifying scarcity reports. Resale market exploitation, 200 to 500% markup. Breakdown of community norms. Aggressive competitive purchasing behavior. Perfect storm compounds. War removes 50%. Tariffs eliminate 30 to 40%. Manufacturing cannot expand. Panic buying 10 times demand. Result: 20 to 30% normal supply facing 300 to 500% normal demand. Shelves empty. Legal rights meaningless without resources. Class warfare. Wealthy stockpiled, working class priced out. Government-created crisis. Courts expand rights. Policies strangle supply. Gun owners. Purchase 500 rounds minimum defensive ammunition immediately. Diversify to non-military calibers. Don't hoard excessively, but ensure adequate supply. Consider reloading. Monitor retailers daily. Avoid extreme price gouging. Join group purchasing. Pressure representatives on DPAS impact and tariff policies. Subscribe because perfect storm making gun rights meaningless, and understanding political nature of crisis determines whether you can still exercise Second Amendment. Rights without resources equal no rights at all. Act before remaining ammunition disappears completely.